Welcome to Comic Art Live 12, Brian. How are you doing?
I'm really well, Bill. How are you doing?
It's I've had three caffeinated beverages and three coffees today, so I'm hardwired for the
Okay,
rest of
that's
the day,
great.
I
I
think.
had a lot of that earlier today. It's 1 o'clock
You-
now, so
it
uh,
it's time to relax.
yeah, you can see it's dark out. So definitely a Saturday evening.
Well, it's been a while. We haven't had the chance to talk in person for I think almost a year. I mean, we email all the time, but yeah, I haven't gotten to have you on a show where we're talking about what you're working on and getting to show off some art for sale and stuff. So how has the last year been for you? I mean, I know that Redcoat continues to do really well. I mean, a lot of my friends really enjoy the book. I love it. We just saw that the second trade is already out there, but
Yeah.
how is that book progressing for you guys?
We're really Jeff and I absolutely love the book. We love working on it. We love working together on it. It's a collaboration that's not really like any either of us have had before, certainly. Um, it's always a joy to work on. We love the character and we love the kind of the expansive historical world that is set in. And that's always a challenge, but it's a fun challenge to work in. Um, but yeah, just dealing with that, trying to keep it as close to monthly as possible, given both of our various schedules within the company as well as creators. And some other stuff going on this year. It's been pretty busy, but in a good way. I don't feel overwhelmed or stressed or worried about it. Every day is genuinely pleasurable, whether it's working on Redcoat or some other personal stuff. There are very many worse ways to spend a day, I think.
Yeah, that is for sure. But there was some big news that came out. I saw, where
Yeah.
was it? Newell in the chat. He's threw it out there that there is a Redcoat movie in the works. I mean, you had
Yeah.
mentioned that as a possibility to me a few months ago. So what's the process for something like that? I mean, how do you and Jeff, even begin to think about how this project that's so personal can be something that can be shared in a way that's outside of the comic book medium?
Well, Jeff's worked, in film and TV for a long time alongside the comic books. I've done work in film and TV as well, so we both know the process. But although it's announced yesterday, this is a process that started for us a long time ago. Chuck's been a big supporter of Ghost Machine from day one, and he's wanted to do a Redcoat movie for day one. And Jeff and I, um, it was going to take time because we had to get the book up and running and get the story running and develop Simon fully as a character before we could then adapt that for the screen, which
Mhm.
has also been part of our year this year. So, I mean, I can't really say any more about it than the press release allows, because the details will be forthcoming in due course. And given the fact that it's fresh, anything I say that isn't in the press release will be seized upon as news, and it isn't. But it says in there that we did the story together and Jeff's providing the screenplay. So, I mean, that's Chuck's producing. Anything else beyond that is going to be future news. But stay tuned. There's a lot more to come.
Well, I'm excited for you guys. I mean,
Thank you.
it was a big professional change for you to go and take the plunge and work on Redcoat, with a Ghost Machine and start that whole business up. And in a few short years, you've gotten to this point. I mean, that's wonderful, and it speaks to the strength of both your work and Jeff's, and really the whole kind of business model around Ghost Machine. I think that everybody knew that you brought a really strong group of creators together, and that's always going to get the attention of whether it's film, or other venues, as far as just wanting to see what kind of things you're going to produce and what the
Mm.
opportunities might be for those.
Yeah, I mean, we're building the way we look at it is we're all building a pyramid here, and like Marvel and DC, we're not a comic book publisher. We don't. Well, I mean, that's why we use Image as our publisher. But even if you look at Marvel and DC, whilst they began as comic book publishers, their business isn't that anymore. Their business is IP ownership and IP development.
Hmm.
That's their core business. Their core business is characters, and those characters move into, the comics is the smallest revenue generator, especially monthly comics, the way things are these days. Um, a Batman pajama set will make far more in a year than a Batman comic will, despite the fact that Batman's one of the best-selling comic books in the monthly arena. So we know that's the marketplace we're all working in, and Ghost Machine was set up to be um, an IP company primarily, but because we wanted to have that business that we could exploit for ourselves rather than be exploited by others. And I don't mean exploit in a negative term, just in the way we can develop our business into different territories, medias, licensing, toys, and so on. Um, and But foundationally for us, because we are comic book creators, foundationally for us, it was important first and foremost to get the comic books right and develop the comic books, and that's never going to stop for as long as we are Ghost Machine. We will still be doing those comics. Jeff and I have, at least 100+ issues of Redcoat planned, and we know where the end games are for some of these characters, but they're, Geiger and Redcoat, it's 100 issues plus beyond
Wow.
now. So we know where all these kind of these milestones are. We've got a couple of them. We're working on one of them right now with a story arc that started in issue 15, and that'll form the next collection and hardcover as well. It's a big story for Simon, a huge story. But then what happens after that is also a really big story for Simon, and the Unnamed Universe as a whole. So whilst we know that part of our, the bulk of our actual business as a company has to be from non-comic book sources, except of course, in the sense that we have our trades and our collections out there, and they're
Hmm.
growing constantly. I think there's 4 or 5 Geiger collections now. Second Redcoat trade has just come out. Rook's out. We've got the first Hornsby and Halo and Rockefeller's trades are out. Hyde Street is out. I think Hyde Street Volume 2 is due very soon. There'll be a collection of Sisterhood with from Maytile and Layla. That'll be coming soon when the series, so these trades, the collections, the first Geiger compendium is ready to go to the printer. So these kind of things just keep, because they're additive, but the first year or two is just building those foundations where you have to start creating the material. And as much as we will continue to develop our IP into other areas, foundational for us is that we will all continue to be the creators of these comic books, because that is important to us as much as we work with and in these other media, as much as Jeff and I will be involved in the Redcoat movie or the Geiger TV series or whatever the other projects become. And they will become other things, other media. And the creators will be involved in those things actively and creatively. We will at heart always be comic book creators, and I think that's important.
Yeah, I can see Redcoat being not only it's great as a comic book and a graphic novel, it could be a paperback that I think you would appeal to so many people even outside of comics that aren't familiar with the visual medium of, of narrative storytelling, because the story is so well
Yeah,
done, the characters are rich, and I think it's a story that people could pick up and create their own visuals, about what Simon looks like, right? I think it
yeah,
has
I
that kind of
agree.
power. And so it's exciting. I mean, when I think about it, I mean, I'd love to be involved in projects like that because it can have a life of its own in ways that you might not even imagine today. I mean, you guys clearly are thinking, 10 years down the road, but there's so much potential. I think with all the
Yeah.
properties like Ghost Machine is doing that,
Well,
it's exciting.
imagine like a great Saturday morning animated type series based on Rook, with all those different wardens and the animal kind of imagery and all the trucks and vehicles and things that Jay created, and all the toy lines that could spawn. That would be wonderful, having kids play with the material the way we all play with the Star Wars stuff and the Transformers and all of that.
Of
And
course.
everybody's always looking for the next Transformers. Why couldn't it be Rook?
Hmm.
Um, uh, and Hyde Street, is a great horror anthology TV show with those terrific characters. Why that I can see that running big time. you know, Redcoat, I could see being in an Assassin's Creed type video game as well. Every level or every game set in different time periods. You know, I
Right.
think there's a lot of potential in the IP, but important to us was to create IP that wasn't initially story based, but character based. You know, like a Batman, a Superman, rather than just purely a story that can be adapted once, if you know what I mean. Where
Hmm.
with a character that has broad potential to run and run and run and give huge amounts of material for continuous development and adaptation whilst we continue to produce the foundational comic book material. Um, so I think, you know, because we come from that background of character first, because we all wanted to work on a Superman book or a Batman book or a Green Lantern book or an X-Men or a Spider-Man, you know, that it isn't that we wanted to do the next I don't know, Days of Future Past per se. We wanted to do the next big X-Men story.
Right.
And that's the thing, it's X-Men, not key story specifics. So I think that's where the character IP or the character development is far more foundational to us, because that's the background we all come from. In Jeff's history, especially with Stargirl as a creation and where that comes from, as and how personal that is to him as a character, given her background. Um, and what Jeff's done with that through DC and its effect on JSA and other things, and then the TV show and so on. And it's, you know, that's an example really of the foundation we want to look for our business as Ghost Machine partners.
Well, that's it's fun to watch from the outside.
Thanks. It's fun
I'm
to do.
really
Believe me, it's a huge hoot. I mean, I can't remember the last time I enjoyed work as much as I enjoy work these days.
well, you know, congratulations, honestly,
Thank you.
Brian. I mean, it couldn't have, you know, it's the right time professionally for you and everything. And I got it. You know, when you're relaxing at this, like at this evening, do you still feel, you know, like working, or is this more like you're done for the day? Do you
I,
find yourself working late at night sometimes?
there's been a few times, because especially with the pieces we're going to be looking at today, because I've been doing those in extra time, as it were, around
Mhm.
working on Redcoat, and there's been occasional gaps here and there. I've been able to fit a few things in, but mostly it's been additional time. Not that I work late. Uh, Generally speaking, I knock off around 6:30, and by the time I've had dinner, the last thing I want to do is go back to work. So,
Right.
I mean, I can't always manage it, but given the choice, I'd much rather start work early, like 5 or 6 a.m. I get much more done in the morning than I would ever do by working late, because you're tired. You had dinner and you're sluggish, and you have to refine the energy that you would have after having had a good night's sleep. The best thing is to do is to go to sleep, you know, at 10 o'clock or whatever, and get up at 5 or 6 and just get on with it.
Hmm.
And I think those early hours, just it's your mind's sharper and your energy's higher once you just start moving. I think, and I find that much more exhilarating. And I get into this flow state with the work, where the hours just disappear, and suddenly the work's happened automatically without me even having to think about it. And I love days like that, and they happen more often than they don't right now. But I can't do that in the evening. So yes, I do relax in the evenings.
Well, that's good. So we should talk about the pieces now. You know, I'll
Yeah.
put the link here into into the chat so people can see. You know, we did release some artwork in the booth earlier
Hmm.
today. So there's 24 pieces there. But what was kind of the, you know, the inspiration behind doing you know, just these, because I know you've been working on them for a while. I think we started talking about this maybe early midsummer, where you said you were you started doing some kind of bespoke commission style pieces, and it's kind
Mm.
of culminated in the pieces that we're showing off both in the booth today, and we have I held back 18 pieces that we're going to show during the stream right now that people can claim in the chat if they want. But yeah, how did you find the time? I mean, as people are going to see, a lot of these pieces are cover quality. You know, they're not you know, you don't just draw the figure and you're done. You tend to
Yeah.
go in a lot more detail than we would expect.
You know, the last few years I've got faster, certainly, and more certain about how to do what's in my head, and just trust that it'll appear and it'll be fine if I just relax, the way you do when you want to write a letter and just write words. You don't think about how to write the words, you just think about the words you want to write.
Hmm.
And drawing's got an awful lot more like that for me. And just while I've been working on Redcoat, sometimes you get to the end of a day and you get an idea, think like, oh, Absolute Superman's doing really well, and you have a look. Oh, that's quite a fun-looking character, and you do a little sketch. And I just thought, why leave it at that? Why not turn these things, these little ideas? It doesn't take a long time, hugely, to do it. I can pencil the inking takes the longest time. Penciling them takes very little time. So suddenly I started producing these pieces at like the beginnings or the ends of the day, or even over lunch or something, that
Hmm.
were breakdowns that were ready to ink. But I was developing a stack of these things, and I just thought, wouldn't it be just fun to finish these things? And because doing what I'm doing with Ghost Machine, I'm not drawing any of those characters anymore. But it doesn't mean I've stopped loving Batman or Spider-Man or whatever.
Right.
And there are itches still to scratch, but given that I'm going to be committed to Ghost Machine well into my 60s. It was just a way of scratching some itches and just delivering on some of those ideas you have, instead of just letting them sit there and not happen. Because the only way I think sometimes you get satisfaction, I think you get frustrated if the story you want to write, or the picture you want to draw, or the song you want to play on the piano, is if you don't do it. That's where the frustration is. The frustration isn't in doing it, the frustration is in not doing it.
Right.
So I just started this process of getting on with it, and just, I say that they all appeared. I mean, I think in total now that, given what you have and what I've already got here, there was something like 4 or 5, 6 double page spreads, 20, 25 of the smaller pieces, and maybe 40, 45 of the 11 by 17s.
Hmm.
And that just accumulated in essentially spare time. So and I had a lot of fun doing them, honestly.
Now, you teased that when we were in the green room. Can you show me? Do you have any of the double
Yeah.
page spreads beside you? I'd love to see what you're working on, because just so everybody knows,
Well,
Bryan is going to be putting a package.
obviously this
Oh,
one
yeah. Let's
you've
go full
seen,
screen.
yeah, right.
Yeah,
So
that's
we've
one
all
we're going
seen
to be
that one.
offering.
Okay. So growing up, I had a real love for George Perez's Teen Titans,
Uh-huh.
um, and um, and I always loved that cover that he did for the first issue, with them all running towards the camera. But given the amount of logo space there was and all the blurbs on the cover, it was a very narrow strip, and I thought that would make a cool double page spread. So I started having a bit of fun turning that into
Oh, wow.
a double page spread, and you can see it's about 80% done. I've got the backgrounds to do and the Gordanians to add, but so there's
Wow.
that one too. And one more I'll just throw in, and there's a few more up there, but Spider-Man versus all the villains.
Oh my gosh. Oh, jeez.
So these ones I'll finish up in the next couple of weeks or so, as I get little gaps in my day. And there's a pile of pieces
Here,
ready
let's.
to ink here as well. So we've got what we got, Magic, Gambit, and Rogue, Catwoman coming on, Wolverine and the X-Men. That will
Oh,
be
wow.
when it's finished. Starfire, my favorite Teen Titan,
Gorgeous.
and just, I don't know why, Squirrel Girl.
There's fans for that.
Yeah. Oh, and there's a Weapon X one in process there as well.
Oh, nice.
So, that's the layout for the Black Canary action shot.
Perfect. Man.
So yeah, there's a load of that stuff in process over there.
So yeah, like I mentioned, you're going to be shipping me the pieces that are all done, I think,
Yeah.
early this week via FedEx.
Probably
So I'll have
Monday,
everything. So I'll have everything in hand probably by the end of the week. And yeah, but clearly in another couple months we'll have another batch of pieces coming in. So
yeah,
if
I thought I'd
anybody,
keep it rolling, keep adding
yeah,
to it.
that's true. And I will let everybody know too that Bryan is going to be accepting, commissions kind of on a case by case basis. I've got some slides and I can give you some pricing ideas, and you can basically email me, and then I'll share everything with Bryan, and we'll work things out. And I also don't mind saying too that, you know, we don't mind taking time payments on things. I know in my booth we have a full checkout because we're integrated with Stripe for my booth, whereas a lot of the sellers during the weekend shows don't have that. So if you see a piece in there that you want and you can only put 50% down or something like that, please, you know, reach out to me. You know my email address, bill@comicardfans.com. We can work anything out. You know, we're very happy to kind of work some terms to get pieces into collectors' hands, because these are very, very nice stuff. And I know some people are looking in the booth and we're impressed. But those DPSs though, Brian, I mean, most people don't sit down and just want to, like, you know, rough out a DPS. So you've got big ideas that
Oh, I love that though. I do. I genuinely love the big stuff. I love being big and wide. You know, on the 8-page spread. Come on, you know, Ultimate's 8 page.
right, exactly. I
You
mean,
know,
to me, we've
that
said it
was
before.
genuinely the easiest thing I ever did on the Ultimates. It was just like, that's made for me. And we're doing a bunch of covers for some of the Ghost Machine books, which are built on. I mean, I've only ever done double-page spreads for the covers anyway, but we're doing some covers that are built on some classic things like the Marvel Universe and Who's Who covers and things like that, which, you know, where all the characters are running, you know, across the 2 covers.
Exactly.
I love doing that stuff. It's just, I know there's a lot of people that don't like doing double-page spreads and big images, but I prefer to be wide than tall. So if I start thinking, like, oh, hang on, there's one more. It's like, I'll just show you this. So I started thinking about doing an Apollo and Midnighter piece, and again, I just thought, you know, wide, give them like the equivalent of an 11 by 17 each, but make it a combined image.
Right.
So,
oh my gosh, that's fantastic.
I mean, it doesn't take me that much longer to do a big piece than it does to do a single piece, honestly, because it's just, when the image comes, it comes, and it's just, I find using that space really quite comfortable.
Well, you know, we've said it before. You know, you really defined, I think, the Marvel universe in a lot of ways with that cinematic approach to comics. Anybody that doesn't feel you had a major influence on that is, you know, is lying to themselves. So I love seeing it. You know, I'm fortunate enough to have a lot of the pieces, you know, here that I get to look at anytime I want. And you know, I mean, my gosh, I mean, throughout your entire career, it seems like when you were given the freedom to kind of do what you wanted, those wide, you know, aspect ratio pieces with panel,
Yeah.
even if they weren't just a full-on DPS, but a 2-page spread with several panels, always had that large cinematic feel to them. And yeah, you're a master of that.
Thank you.
Okay. So why don't we'll show off the pieces. So nothing's
okay.
auctioned.
Yeah,
So
cool.
somebody said, when is the auction going to start? The pieces that we're going to show all have a lot number on it and a fixed price. So first person who types claim and the lot number that we show, you get, you know, you'll be reaching out to me after the stream. My email is bill@comicardfans.com, and you will, and we'll work out and arrange payments. And like I mentioned already, you know, time payments are okay. You know, we're going to want to deposit on stuff, but yeah, that's how we work things with this. And shipping generally, you know, we're in the U.S. here, so once I have the art in the U.S., it'd probably be about $35 to ship, because we ship everything in Masonite. If you're international, it's probably closer to 65, around there. So just, you know, bear that in mind. And anything that we show right now that doesn't sell, I'm going to put in the booth for my Sunday art drop. So, you know, if you're on the fence, you'll get to see the same art pieces again tomorrow, and it'll be available then. All right, well, let's and then again, after we show the 18 slides, we'll mention what the commission prices are too. So let's go ahead and do this here. So I'm going low to high. I figured I'd start with the 8.5 by 11 pieces here, and we got a Superman to get things started. I mean, this is $800, again, 8.5 by 11, and you know, you just finished, or you can't say you just finished, but the Superman and Lex book finally made it out
just
there.
Come out. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Finally is completed, and you know, I mean, but when did you finish penciling that book? Because that seems like it. You know, you probably were done a while ago.
Well, I finished penciling the first issue before I even drew Venom. So what was that? 4 years ago? 3 years ago? Because the way it was going to be a full-time thing, then Wade got some other stuff, because he was at that point still, was it Humanoids he was at? He was editor-in-chief at Humanoids at that point still. So he couldn't quite commit full-time to doing it. But he got the first issue written, and I drew that pretty much full-time, and then there was going to be a gap before I got the issue 2 script. So then I took on the Venom project and did issue 2 whilst I was doing Venom, those 16 issues of Venom. And then there was a huge gap before issue 3 script was written. And then by that point, I'd finished Ultimate Invasion. So then I just sat and drew issue 3. And then just before I started Ghost Machine, actually. So I finished that in November, like 2 years ago, 3, was it 2 years ago?
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, it took Kevin a while to get through all the inks too. So, yeah,
That is true.
It was a while ago.
All right. Well, so here's our first lot, and I'm going to go ahead and we'll go through these kind of quickly because I think people will appreciate them. This next one's a Dead Man. So I know you're as big a DC fan as you are a Marvel fan, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, Marvel came late. I grew up on the DC comics, so it was the DC characters that first instilled the love of comic book and comic book art for me. And Garcia Lopez, his Dead Man series is just breathtakingly good from start to finish. His art has influenced me tremendously, foundationally, really. The Marvel stuff I came to love as a professional. I didn't really start reading Marvel comics until pretty much the year I turned pro. I was only 16 years old, admittedly, but nonetheless, it was so like 1986, early 87 when I first started reading Marvel comics.
Well, that makes sense then. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think Garcia Lopez influenced, a generation of creators. I mean,
Oh,
just,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, the
But
problem with Garcia Lopez as an influence is that he's so good and there's no shortcuts. It's just about good drawing. It's a really hard thing to emulate because you have to have a huge amount of anatomical knowledge and perspective and storytelling and figure work and facial expression and all of that. It's a very hard thing to learn how to do anything as close as he is in that respect.
that is very, very true. We were fortunate enough to have him at the first OAX, and it was great to see. He's still got it. The pieces that he brought with him, or the sketches that he did at the show. Yeah, he's phenomenal. And again, here's a very nice big Barda. Again, it's 8.5 by 11, but you didn't stop just with Barda. You get a couple extra characters in there as well. Newell says Granny looks menacing. Yes, she definitely does. She's grimacing.
Well, I don't think she's a very happy woman.
No, not at all. So this one's $1,000, and then we have this was a nice one here. Over to the Marvel Universe, a nice Spider-Gwen. Yeah, and again, you draw cityscapes so well, even one at a convoluted angle like this one. It's fantastic.
Do you know, it's just lines. It's like one of my sons described it as big square, little square. And that's what it is. A big square with little squares in it. That's buildings.
Is that how you think about it while you're drawing it? You don't get overwhelmed by the fact that you're drawing at least a dozen skyscrapers in this, zoomed in or in different angles. You just keep thinking of them as squares and angles, and that's it.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, you get the perspective lines set, the bit, then it's big shapes, and then there's little shapes within the big shapes. And to be fair, that's how you think about hair, like long hair or hair on characters. You think about it in sections. You have the overall shape, and then there's sections. You don't think about each individual hair. It's shadows and sections within the overall shape of the hair. And that's really all drawing. I mean, if you think about music, every song's made up of individual notes, isn't it? It's not just the lines aren't the notes, it's just the smaller shapes within the overall big shape.
Well, this one's really nice. And you did a Spider-Gwen cover, I think. I might actually have that. I don't think
I did. Yes. Yeah, you're right.
I haven't posted that one yet, but it's beautiful.
That's on the big paper as well, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's very nice. I'll have to dig that one out. That's one of the covers that I have not added, made available to people. But then look at this one. You have a Mary Jane. She's wearing Spidey's costume. I mean, you got Peter, who's very unhappy because Green Goblin is terrorizing the town. And I mean, again, just fun stuff. I mean, this what was the inspiration? I mean, were you? I don't even know. Wait, tell me.
I don't know. It was just like, I came up with it. It just popped into my head, so I kind of sketched it up and and inked it the following morning before coffee. It was, I think it just when you get into a certain kind of headspace, stuff pops in and out all the time. And as I say, the frustration is often in not doing anything about it, rather than producing the pieces and getting it out your head, rather than letting it sit in there.
Right, right. Well, this one's the last of the 8.5 by 11s that I'm showing here. So we have 11 by 17s from here on out, except we do have 2 DPSs as well. So here's a Medusa that I think is just stunning. You
Thank
clearly
you.
enjoy drawing the hair. I mean, that's
Yeah, love
it's
drawing
not
hair.
fantastic.
Yeah. Hair's a tricky thing, actually. It's hard to pencil for somebody else to ink, honestly, because then it becomes quite mechanical. When I pencil for myself to ink, the hair is just in these very basic shapes, and then I create it within the inks. And that's an example of what I said about the idea of creating sections, and then detail within the sections. But just the idea of having a solid, rather than having Medusa moving, having a standing still with the hair being the thing that was alive, seemed like a good fit.
Oh yeah, no, it's beautiful.
Thanks.
Let me see here. Yeah. And somebody was asking where Matt DiTullio collects a lot of Inhuman stuff. Matt's probably prepping for the panel that happens after this one. So
Okay.
he'll see this one later. Here we go. Back over to DC. We have a Zatanna.
Yeah.
Now, I think I feel like I've seen. You've drawn the character a few times before, of course.
I don't
But
think I have,
no,
actually.
I thought well, maybe I'm feeling like I thought I saw somebody like a convention sketch or something on CAF, or maybe a commission. Maybe I'm mistaken.
I genuinely don't think I did.
Okay.
I thought that was the first time I'd drawn her, but I could be
Well,
wrong. She could have been on a cover I'd done at some point and forgotten about.
I'll have to go back and look. So maybe I'm wrong. So first time that it didn't bother you to just dive in and tackle a character that you felt like you were doing it for the very first time. I mean, that's
Well, not really, because I grew up with these characters. I've known them for a long time in one way or another.
mhm.
So it's actually, in fact, it can be a lot of fun just to dive in on something completely new. I keep saying that there's nothing more exciting than a blank sheet of paper. I It's something that's never terrified me. I absolutely adore a blank sheet of paper, because so the idea of doing something completely new is terrific. It's
Sure.
exciting, actually.
Well, this next character, I know you have drawn them before. Maybe you drew them a little differently when you first drew them, but the She-Hulk is pretty
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
awesome. But different than your early Marvel work, right? When you were
Well,
drawing She-Hulk.
I feel I've improved a little bit over the last 30 something years. So yeah. I mean, what was that? It was 89, wasn't it? I did She-Hulk.
Right. Yeah. I knew it
So,
was before 90. Yeah.
and
And
I don't think I'd drawn women before that. At least much anyway. So, and I was only 19, I suppose. I had no idea about anatomy and all of that. And actually, when we were doing Ultimates, Mark wanted to bring She-Hulk into Ultimates, and because I had such a stressful or bad time, and it was such a bad idea of how I'd drawn She-Hulk when I did the book, I just said, no, I want to draw the character again. And then a few years ago, Nick Lowe asked me to do a She-Hulk cover. It's before I went to go to do the Ghost Machine stuff. And I
mhm.
was like, you know what? I should probably just give it a shot. And it was huge fun. Um, Jeff Johns has it now. Actually, he owns it now, because he liked it. But it was an absolute hoot to do. And I thought, actually, I can see the appeal now, and it would be interesting. It's always interesting, isn't it, to be able to think you could go back with all the experience you've gained and re-tackle some of the things you did when you were younger, but only with the experience you've already got. You don't want to go back and be inexperienced and without the knowledge again. But yeah, I actually love drawing She-Hulk. I could do whole books with her now.
Well, let's see. We have a black cat as well, 11 by 17. You kind of get a little bit of storytelling going on in this one with her just committing a crime of some sort. Uh, yeah, and again, you get the shapes in the back. They're just squares
Yeah,
and
big square, little square.
yeah.
Yeah, that was just. I mean, I'd never really tackled any Spider-Man stuff in a big way, and really, it's possibly the one Marvel regret I had was not being able to do a big run on Spider-Man. I would have loved to have tackled that and the whole Spider-Man world. So having to, just that's what came out of that, was just, I like that big double page spread, just tackling some of the Spider-Man characters, because I never got a chance to.
Well, here's an X-Men related character. We have Emma Frost. This is on 11 by 17 as well. Nicely done.
Thank you. I should have probably
And-
painted in the roses red. It would have probably made it more startling.
Well, you haven't shipped me the art yet. You can almost do it.
I have to find something red to do it with other than lipstick.
Yeah, no, that's that would work. But it's very nice as it is, and I'm sure, I can only imagine she's probably thinking about Cyclops, would be my guess here. Scott Summers, or who knows. But this is very nice. Let's see, what's the next one? Oh, okay, back over to DC. You did a couple Harley Quinns. I think I put one of them in the booth already, but this one was nice because it's also, you got the Joker in the background as well.
It was just going to be a single figure of Harley on nothing, and I'm not fond of blank space, as you can probably tell. So I thought, what do I put in the background? And the other one has got the hyenas and the implied storytelling in it, and I just thought, I've never drawn the Joker, so I thought I'd just shove him in the background, which seemed obvious now that I think about it. But yeah, so that's the very first drawing I've done of the Joker, I think.
Very nice. Now, this next character for lot 12 is one that you have drawn before. So this is a Storm. Yeah, classic.
Classic Storm.
Yes, I mean, for me, that's
John Byrne's Storm, Dave Cockrum's Storm, really, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's gorgeous, and I love the detail in the background as well.
Yeah, again, another, I suppose, now that I talk about like things I hadn't done, there's a couple of times where I'd come close to doing a run on the X-Men in one way or another. And actually, just before I left to do Ghost Machine, Tom Brevoort asked me to come and join in with the reboot, but I'd already, but the Ghost Machine was taking form at that point far quicker than we thought it was going to. So I never got a chance to even really think about it in a seriousness. But I always did it once with Mark, and even Bendis and I talked about doing it once. So there's been a few potential runs at the X-Men that I've never got off the ground for one reason or the other.
And we probably won't get the opportunity to see that happen again. So it's pieces like these. Well, we said never say never, Brian. Right? Never say never. But
never say never. It just seems highly unlikely.
Yeah. Well, this is gorgeous. This was one of the first pieces you showed me, and
it was the first one I did, actually. That and the Captain Marvel were the first two pieces I did.
Oh, nice. Well, here we've got I got 6 more to show off here. So next up is a Power Girl, and you got to include Superman in this one too. Yeah, she's having a good time, and so is Superman.
Yeah, I did. Power Girl's just one of those improbable characters. Wally Wood. We all go back to Wally Wood, isn't it? And of course, Adam Hughes certainly made her breasts very popular. But
he's made a lot of characters' breasts very popular. That's why we love Adam.
I know. I don't know. I suppose it's just one of those characters I'd never drawn, and I just thought, wouldn't it be fun to do one of those? I think I was probably inspired by Adam. I was probably come across Adam's stuff online at some point, like something had popped up on a social media feed, like one of his Power Girls, and I was like, oh yeah, and that's probably what inspired me to draw that. I can't remember why, but it's probably where it came from, was seeing Adam's Power Girl somewhere online. I mean, nobody does that stuff like Adam does, so it is what it is. But yeah,
that is very true. And there is another Power Girl piece in the booth for those who haven't gone over there yet. I'll throw the link in the chat again as a reminder. And let's see here, what is the next piece? Oh, it's another She-Hulk, but this one is She-Hulk with Rhino, a broken down Captain America, and the Hulk is knocked out in the back as well.
Yeah.
So you went to town on this one. I mean, it seems like you had the pose for She-Hulk, and then it was just like you had to fill the space, so you just kept going.
Pretty much how that went. Yeah, that's yeah, that was going to be a single figure piece too, but I got carried away. What can I tell you?
Oh, Spider-Man's in there too. Gosh, how do I even miss that? I'm sorry. I was too busy looking at the right side of the screen to remember that Spidey was in this one as well. So yeah, there you go. And Alberto is the biggest Captain America
I
collector out there. So
know.
he's probably not happy to see Cap down like that. But
It could have been anybody. I just picked Cap, honestly. It could genuinely have been anybody, but he was the first character that came to my head because I think at that point I'd just done one of the Captain America pieces. So yeah.
well, so there you go. It's a 5-figure piece here. Yeah, Robert. I mean, they are awesome. Absolutely. I mean, that's why these are fun. I mean, they feel like they should have been a cover or a splash page in a book. You didn't just kind of settle for doing a figure with minimal backgrounds in a lot of these. You went all out. Now okay. These last four are all really, really incredible. This next one is a Batman, and it's priced $2,400, lot 15. And again, I mean, look at this. It's Batman on a gargoyle, but in an angle that's just super dramatic. I just think this is beautiful, and this should be a cover, Brian. Somebody should, could send this scan over to DC, and I would be shocked if it wasn't licensed in some way. And we do have a claim on this one.
You
Very,
do,
very
thank you.
wise decision there for good Guano 3919. But YouTube has really messed up everybody's handles in the last couple of weeks, Brian. Everybody used to have like names that were legible, and now there are all these cryptic handles that everybody has to go back
Good
in and
guano,
re-edit.
I know.
But yeah, no, but
Well, the
this
background to
one's
this is actually was going to be I did a layout for a Batman's grave cover that I didn't end up using for a variety of reasons. And I literally found it a few weeks ago when I was going through, because I had a massive clear out in the office, and I was going through it, and I thought, oh God, I forgot about that. And it was partly penciled, like the layout was done, and I think I partly penciled the figure. And so I thought, oh yeah, I'll just spend an afternoon finishing it because I had nothing else to do that afternoon. So I finished that up, and I was really happy with the way it came out. And I really think, looking at it, I thought that should have stayed at Batman's grave cover. Actually, it was better than the one that ultimately replaced it.
sometimes the first ideas are the best, but it's gorgeous. And knowing that, I mean, it just explains why there's just it feels like a cover.
Yeah,
it should be.
it's definitely the intention for it.
Well, this next piece feels the exact same way, and this is a Spider-Man. I mean, and look, again, figures amazing, of course, and then just the cityscape behind, Spidey on this one is just jaw-dropping. Brian. I mean, this is not something that again, when you think about doing commission pieces for fun, this isn't what I picture. I've got a lot of commissions in my time, but this one's phenomenal.
Well, if you want to commission that, a cover style commission, that's the kind of level you get,
Oh
or
yeah.
that, or the Nightwing, or the Batman. Because when I approach a piece, whether it's a private commission or a cover commission, whatever, it gets the same attention regardless, because I have standards, and I'm never going to let something go until I feel like I've done the best job I can do. And I'm certainly not going to just bash something out for the sake of it, because whether it's a private commission or because they're all commissions. At the end of the day, one is a professional illustrator, and every job should be treated the same way, especially for people who are paying for it.
Right. Well, it's just amazing. So yeah. Okay, so this was lot 16 at $2,400. We have two more pieces to look at, and these are both the DPS size. Now, the first one is the Batman that you showed off a little bit ago.
The double page spread, yeah.
Yes, double page spread, and it's 22 by 17 on a single board, not.
Yep.
Yeah.
I never do them on join boards. I haven't done that for a long time. I hated the bit in the middle. You always it fouls the lines up. So yeah.
Well, I mean, again, this is incredible. I mean, the bat signal on the
Thank you.
buildings as well, and I do have again, if it doesn't sell, there'll be a bigger scan in my booth tomorrow for those who want to zoom in and just fully appreciate it. But at $3,000 for this DPS, I mean, I think that's yeah, that is a very fair price for. I mean, again, this is cover quality. It's gorgeous.
Well, it's they're all
Yeah.
finished to the same level I'd finish any job for Marvel or DC.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to. They're not sketches, so I'll put the same level of the effort and detail in, because for this, I just I had the idea for it. And I wanted to take it as far as I could take it. And I love drawing Batman. I love that environment. And the weird thing about Batman's grave as well was Warren and I had a very set idea about how we wanted the book to be, and DC somehow got the wrong idea about what they wanted it to be. So it was often a struggle for me to kind of do the imagery and the covers the way I wanted to do them without getting pushback, especially on covers, that it should be something other than, I mean, we wanted to do the Raid, they wanted Mindhunter. So yeah.
Well, that's unfortunate. And that was, I mean, I would assume sometimes those misunderstandings, are kind of what made you want to do your own projects. So you're more
Yeah, to
control
a
over,
point, I
right?
suppose. Yes, it's certainly a contributing factor. But I can now indulge myself. So this is where this came from. It's like, I want to do a classic Batman.
Well, it certainly is. And this is something that I think someone would not keep in their portfolio. They would want to frame this and have it on the wall. So let's see. Last Lot is actually a published piece, and it's from Redcoat, and it's the issue 15 wraparound. And and again, it's. I wish I could show it bigger. I could probably show it in a different way. But so this was with Youngblood. How did this project even come about?
Image asked us if we would be interested in doing sort of a supportive PR role in Rob's relaunch of Youngblood. And so Mike asked a few of us, I think Ivan, Gary, and I, if we could do a variant cover for our books featuring one of the Youngblood characters, and I couldn't pick one, so and Redcoat covers are traditionally widescreen, and this, oddly enough, this was a issue 15 had a bit of a jokey cover on it that didn't have the usual a detail of the widescreen cover, and that was for a number of reasons. So when I knew it was going in issue 15, I just thought I'll just do all of them, and Simon, and because I haven't done Simon in that kind of classic superhero. We talk about characters like Simon and Geiger being superhero adjacent, and it was just fun to play with him in the idea in the environment of pure superheroes. And you can't deny the effect that with Image, the foundation of Image by those guys, Wildcats and Youngblood and Spawn and so on, and what it's allowed us to do as well as kind of a next generation of creator collectives with their own companies within that environment. I think it was just nice to kind of work in that touchstone. It was fun to do, actually. I don't think I've looked at those characters since the 90s when they came out. So
Right.
It was it was a fun kind of project to deal with.
Well, it makes sense, like you said. You couldn't just think of one character to be with Simon. You had to just go all out and put them all in there and make it a beautiful wraparound, like you said, like a lot of all of the Redcoat covers. So this is so this is pretty impressive as our final piece tonight. And I'll remind everybody that time payments are okay on any of these things. Chuck Arnold says nice pouches on Simon. Yeah, he does have some pouches, doesn't he?
Yeah, that amused me when I was drawing him too. I was like, oh, he fits right in. He's got pouches.
Mm-hmm. But here, we might as well, I've only got about 5 more minutes before I have to help out with the next panel here, Brian, but at least to get them started. So why don't we talk about the commission opportunities that we have, at least pricing wise. I have gotten a couple emails already from people who are interested in commissioning you. So let me see. I made some quick slides here. So, that's the second one. Sorry. Let's see. This was the one I wanted to put up first. There we go.
Oh,
So
they're 8.5 by 11s, aren't they?
yes, the 8.5 by 11s, they're going to be they're done at $1,000, and the single character, full or partial figure with minimal backgrounds. And I think all of these pieces are exemplary of what people could expect for this.
And when you say minimal, you mean my minimal, right?
Right, your minimal backgrounds. I know. Hey, I was just following what we wrote, but right, exactly. I mean, these are edge to edge, as we like to say. A lot of,
Yeah.
again, a lot of times people, you get a commission, it's you're focused on the figure only, but no, yours, are very finished pieces, and again, I think all of these pieces were in the art drop in my booth today, so you can look at all these images in more detail over there. And you can make an inquiry directly through the booth today, or you can just shoot me an email, bill@comicartfans.com, and we can talk about that. Then let's see, I also have the 11 by 17 single figure, full figure. And again, we say minimal backgrounds, but that's just not true. It's to give people an expectation, Brian, that yes,
Right.
it's minimal, but I mean, if when we've only done commissions once before. That was a couple years ago, and I remember somebody got a Wolverine, and I think they had like 5 brood around them. That they didn't ask for that, but that's what you did. And I know there were a couple other figures that were very similar to that, where you just added in a lot of extra background and extra character here or there. So even though we say single character, you really you're going to make the thing be as perfect as you can possibly make it.
Well, yeah, exactly. Because I get more frustrated by having to let it go less than I'm happy with. So
Yes, Alberto says your minimal backgrounds put a lot of artists' full backgrounds to shame. Yes, indeed. And the Nightwing is very dramatic. I mean, I love the fire escape there, in an alleyway. It's just an awesome piece. And
thanks.
then
I had a lot of
and
fun with that.
let's see, what was, okay, and I showed the last one first. It says
Yeah.
commission level 2. It's actually 3. So for $3,000, you can have a DPS full figure, and you can, if you need it, if you want extra characters, that is an option. I think we talked about something like $500 per extra character, thereabouts. So if anybody has ideas on what they would like with regards to a single character, or a multi-character piece, we're very happy to kind of review those with you, and let you know what it would cost. So feel free to reach out to me, bill@comicartfans.com, or visit the booth that we have going on this weekend during Comic Art Live, and you can definitely make your inquiry that way. And then anything that didn't sell today, you'll definitely see that dropping in the booth tomorrow as well. And I guess, what was it? Good guano. Good guano. It needs to, shoot me an email, bill@comicartfans.com, and we will definitely, square up payment and everything. What is Alberto says? What is it? Why do you list these as? I don't. We just. It's it's a Captain America tax. There you go. Iludaku has answered your question for you, Alberto. If you ask for a Captain America, we promise not to tax you in any unjust way. You like drawing Captain America, Brian?
Yeah, I do. I think I feel like a certain kind of affinity for the character. And we had a certain impact on the character with the Ultimates, both in comics and movies. So yeah, it's always fun to draw him. I could have done I could have done a whole series of Ultimate Cap, honestly.
Yeah. Well, Brian, as always, these are fun, and we have a lot to talk about. But would you mind hanging out in the green room for a few minutes
Sure,
while I get the
absolutely.
other panel started? I'll probably be a few minutes
That's fine.
late,
I'm
but
here.
yeah,
I'll finish my
okay.
wine.
But again, congratulations on the potential movie. Yeah, I think that's just going to be so dang awesome to have
Yeah.
that happen. I mean, thinking about it, I mean, have you had anything that on a similar scale, of one of your projects where you can see it, becoming a film, and get to have a little, that kind of input into a project
Mhm.
of that scale?
Yeah,
This is
it's
the
it's
first.
yeah, we're both we're all very excited about it. And uh I mean, say we've Jeff and I have been working on this for quite a few months now. So um so yeah, we're even more excited actually because we know how good the story is and the script is. So
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, Alberto is the guy who bought that about one of the Cap Reborn, or he bought a couple of the Cap Reborn covers. So they're in a
oh
good
yeah,
home, by the way.
I like that. I really like that. I like working with Butch on that, and yeah, there was some nice pieces in that. I like the covers too. I had to fight to get the wraparounds for the covers, but I think with perspective, and especially looking at the collection, I think Butch brought so much to it too. It was um, it was such a nice collaboration. I was looking forward to working with Butch on something else. I was hoping to do something else with Butch at Ghost Machine, but sadly, he passed away. So I never even got a chance to talk to him about it. But I have a very happy memory of that series.
No, I agree. Some of the work that I've gone back and looked at a few times, that we have from the Cap Reborn series. It's so well done, and Butch,
Yeah,
it was a great compliment to your pencils on that
thanks.
run. All right, well, listen, we're gonna sign off right now, but Bryan, I'll be back in the studio in a few minutes. Everybody, you'll be redirected to the next panel that Matt DiTullio will be heading up, and yeah, enjoy that. And then I'll be around later this afternoon on another panel as well. So enjoy the rest of the day, and we'll see you